Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about sweeteners, and I am going to show you my top 5 favorite alternative sweeteners. So I'm sure many of you know, if you cook or bake in the traditional way, the most common sugar around is cane sugar. And I don't have anything inherently wrong with cane sugar. It's really that it's a more processed version of a sweetener, and there are a lot of other great alternatives that aren't as much processed, and you get more nutrients when you use them. And if you can't tell from the setting, today I am not in my kitchen. I'm actually visiting my parents, and they live in Vermont, and I grew up in Vermont, so my #1 sweetener, which I'm sure will come as no surprise to many of you, is Vermont maple syrup. So maple syrup is by far my favorite sweetener around. I use it in cooking, I use it in baking, obviously on pancakes and waffles, in things like oatmeal, and I think it A, has the most amazing flavor, and B, it has some nutrients in it. So how they make maple syrup is from the sap of maple trees, and as the kind of weather gets a little bit warmer, the sap starts to run, and they tap the trees, the sap comes out, boil the sap, and it turns into maple syrup. So that is actually why maple syrup is on the more expensive side. I think one of these things, this is a quart, so 32 ounces, this cost me like $22, and it's so expensive because making maple syrup is a labor of love. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of sap to get 1 gallon of maple syrup, so it is on the pricier side, but it is 1000% worth it. It's so good. Don't skip on the quality. Make sure that you're buying 100% pure maple syrup, not the stuff that comes in like a plastic jug that looks like a lady. I don't want to say it on camera, but you know, things like Aunt Jemima and things like that, they're just pure 100% cane sugar. They don't have any maple in them. They have things like maple extracts and maple flavorings to make them taste like maple syrup, but they're not actually maple syrup. So if you are new to maple syrup, I highly recommend you check it out. It is absolutely amazing. My favorite grade, which kind of is the grade of darkness that they are, is now it's called grade A dark amber. It used to be grade B, but the darker the shade of your maple syrup, the less refined it is. So I like to get grade A dark amber, and that's what this one is right here. And it's so good. It has a really robust, delicious flavor, and like I said, you can use it in pretty much everything. So I'm actually going to be linking not only links to the products that I'm mentioning, but I will also include some recipes that use each of the sweeteners. So if you want to see some maple recipes, check them out in the description box below. So next up on my list is a granulated sugar, and it's coconut sugar. I'm sure you guys have seen me use this in tons of my baking recipes. I love coconut sugar. It is a 1-to-1 substitute for regular granulated sugars. Of course, it has a darker color, so if you're going for something like white cookies, or what are they called, sugar cookies, that have like a white color, if you use coconut sugar, it is going to turn them darker brown. So you can think of it more as an alternative to brown sugar instead of white sugar. But you can, if you don't mind the color, you can use it 1-for-1 with white sugar. Sorry, that was a little bit confusing, but hopefully you guys understood that. The other thing that I really like about coconut sugar is that it is lower on the glycemic index than cane sugar, and so it won't kind of spike your blood sugar as much, and it still has a nice sweetness. I find that it has kind of a caramelly flavor similar to maple syrup. It definitely is not quite as sweet as cane sugar, but I think that as I've kind of used this more in my baking, my taste for sweetness has gone down, and it's plenty sweet for me. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that you can actually grind coconut sugar in your blender into like a powdered sugar. So you can use it to replace powdered sugar, but you can also use it in baking recipes. So I use them in my raspberry brownies. If you've ever tried those, I'll link the video in the description box below. But I use the ground coconut sugar, and it gives them a much kind of chewier, softer, and it has like that nice shiny crust on top. So good. So of course there is recipes in the description box below, and I will link some of my coconut sugar favorites in the description box below as well. Number 3 is raw honey. This honey I found at a local store up here in Vermont. It is called Northwoods Apiaries. It's a local Vermont honey. It's 100% raw. And what I really like about raw honey is that it is packed with nutrients. It's also antibacterial. So honey, surprisingly enough, will not really go bad because it is antibacterial. And the difference between the honey that you find at like the traditional grocery store, that I think they come in like teddy bears or things like that, and they're called clover honey. The difference between that and raw honey is that they have been pasteurized and heated. So they are a lot more liquidy. you'll find that if you buy raw honey, you have to kind of scoop it with a spoon. It's thick, kind of like a nut butter almost. So it's thick, and if you want it to be runny, you're gonna have to melt it. But again, you get all of the nutrients in here, so it's not killed before it comes into your container. So I recommend that if you guys are interested in picking up honey, try to find locally made honey. Try to find it from a farm or an apiary that you know kind of handles their bees well, and also make sure that it's raw. And if it can be organic, that is ideal as well. So number 3 is raw honey, and I will link some of my favorites in the description box below. And if you have been watching my channel for a while and you're wondering why I'm talking about honey, because a lot of people think that I live 100% vegan, I will link a video where I talk about that in the description box below. So before everybody gets all up in arms, I'm not 100% vegan, and I do eat honey on occasion. I think that it is amazing, and I've talked to a lot of beekeepers before about the honey production process, and a lot of people think that it's harmful for the bees, and it's actually not. So if you want to learn more about my diet story, go ahead and check out the link in the description box below. So my 4th sweetener is monk fruit extract. You guys probably recognize this from any of my What I Eat in a Day videos. This is how I sweeten my matcha lattes in the morning, and monk fruit extract is my alternative to stevia. I have found that A, the flavor is better. I don't think that it has as strange of an aftertaste, and B, this monk fruit extract in particular is 100% pure. So a lot of people say that stevia or stevia, however you pronounce it, is really healthy, it's pure, it's low calorie. And while that might be true, you should check out the ingredient list, because a lot of times it isn't 100% pure stevia extract only. There's oftentimes fillers and additives, things like maltodextrin and other things like that that help preserve it. And I personally think they are really unnecessary. I don't think that you need to add additives into your diet. So that's why I really like monk fruit extract, that and the aftertaste part of it. So I'll link this exact one in the description box below. I actually don't have any recipes on my website that use monk fruit extract exclusively as a sweetener, but anytime you see stevia, you can use monk fruit extract in its place. And again, this one is linked in the description box below. So number 5 are bananas. Bananas are a wonderful way to naturally sweeten your foods, especially when it comes to things like breakfast. So mashed banana can be used to replace eggs in some recipes. So if you are trying to make a recipe vegan, you can oftentimes replace 1 to 2, I wouldn't go more than 2 eggs with mashed banana. And of course, banana is super duper sweet. The more brown spots they have like this, the sweeter they're gonna be. So I like to add them into pancakes. I love to stir it into my oatmeal. I use it in muffins all the time. Of course, banana bread, that's like so classic, but they actually add a really delicious and sweet flavor to your baked goods. Of course, it's gonna taste like banana, so if you're not a banana fan, I wouldn't say use banana, but they are just so delicious, and of course they're also packed with nutrients and vitamins. So bananas are really high in potassium, as well as vitamin K and other really great vitamins, and that's why they're one of my favorite sweeteners. If you're allergic to bananas, I know a lot of people are allergic to bananas, it's okay, your world's not gonna end. I know that a lot of vegan recipes in particular call for bananas, but I have successfully used mango puree in place of bananas. It does have a different flavor, but it's equally as sweet, and you can use the pureed mango as you would the mashed banana. You can also use applesauce to replace banana, pear butter or pear puree, really any kind of fruit that you puree, you can replace banana with. So I also actually think that you could use squashes, so you could use sweet potato and butternut squash to replace the banana as well. But if you aren't allergic to banana, I highly recommend that you guys incorporate them as a natural way to sweeten your food. They are so, so, so good mashed into oatmeal or breakfast quinoa. And of course with smoothies, they're so good. But they're also just a really great way to add some nutrients into your baked goods, give it a little bit of sweetness by using a little bit less sugar, and they also have a really lovely flavor. So I will link some of my favorite banana recipes below so you can check them out. I use it a lot in my baking, so I'm gonna include mostly baking recipes below. But again, bananas, the darker they are, the sweeter they're gonna be, and don't be afraid about the sugar content because you're sweetening things with the bananas and you're getting all of the nutrients from the bananas, so don't feel bad about eating banana. And that's pretty much it, you guys. Those are my top 5 favorite alternative sweeteners. Of course, there are so many more, so if I missed one of your favorites, please leave them in the comment box below so I can check them out if I haven't heard of it, and I will also be happy to share some recipes if I have them on my website and they include the sweetener that you mentioned. Again, if you have questions for me, leave them in the comment box below, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you on Tuesday. I have a brand new recipe video coming that uses a few of these sweeteners, so stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, I'd love to have you subscribe. You can do so by clicking the red button that's below this video and click the little bell right next to that button because that will turn on your notifications, so that means you'll never miss a video. I post videos twice a week, every Tuesday and Friday. Tuesdays are recipe days, Fridays are lifestyle or what I eat a days or things like this. So there's tons of content and there's lots more coming your way. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next week. Bye!